Day 18. So you remember, it's probably been about a week ago or so, and I told you that there was something that they were pulling out for the wedding. This is it. And today was the day that I got Brett convinced that he needed to tell the story. So here's the Wagner.
This ain't no tractor for sissies.
And I'm not really sure why, but it's only like 1 in 29 or so made. I'll get more details later, I'm sure. I bet Mr. Sunshine has a smile on his face.
Trouble of it is, I don't know if it was supposed to be parked here or in front of the trees.
Well, just like anybody else for a wedding, she cleans up nicely. I'm not much of a tractor person, but that is pretty impressive.
Okay. So, what is this thing, Brett?
1969 WA-14 John Deere Wagner.
What makes it a John Deere Wagner?
Well, John Deere bought the rights to the Wagner for the tractor production for 5 years, and what makes it so special is basically this John Deere tag right there.
Okay.
This particular one's a 14. It's the fourth one off the line. It originally ended up in Milk River, Canada. From there it got sold into the US. From there it just sat in a shed for most of its life.
So, you know, you guys had me do a little bit of research on it. So correct me if I'm wrong, but John Deere did not engineer this thing.
No. They basically bought out their competition, is what it was. John Deere was trying to come up with a four-wheel drive tractor. This thing was kicking their butt in every way, shape, and form. So,
and what they hoped was going to work wasn't quite ready.
no, the 8010, which got recalled and they renamed it a 8020, was their competition. And this thing was just serving at lunch. So this thing got bought, or the rights to the Wagner tractor got bought by John Deere for 5 years, or 100 tractors, which they never produced.
And the Wagner had a pretty cool history on the 7 Wagner brothers that were quite industrious. They had logging equipment.
Correct. Cement.
They were doing manual labor all by shoveling cement, and they thought, there's got to be a better way to make a living.
Well, one would think.
Yeah, there's got to be a better way to make a living.
So, but yeah, John Deere bought the rights to the tractor, and this is what they got.
Yeah.
All that's different. So the history on it is, what was it? New Year's Eve '68. They made a deal with Wagner. So '69 and on, they're all painted green. All they did was paint them green, different decals. But other than that, what you see is what you get. This one doesn't have its original motor in it. This one has a small cam 350 Cummins in it, but other than that, it's pretty much all original.
Yeah, that exhaust pipe, that's certainly original.
I don't see why not.
Oh, heck.
And all we've ever done with it is basically, we bought it from Ron Harmon and Big Equipment, swung a deal with him, traded him a 60-30 John Deere and an 875 Versatile that we had laying around, and brought this home and tore it down and restored it. When we bought it, this motor was laying in it. Nothing was hooked up, nothing was running. So my two brother-in-laws, Jake and Benny Baum, went up with me for a week, and we put it together and drove it onto the trailer and brought it home.
Now, but what do you do with it now?
Look at it.
Enjoy it.
Should run it more.
Parades?
Oh, I've taken it to one, but that's about it.
You exercise it once in a while, right?
Oh yeah. I'll never sell it. Proud to own it. Dad and I are proud to own it.
Does it say Wagner on the casting on the other side?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. This one has the actual John Deere axles in it. Some of the other Wagners had Clark axles in it.
And it was a successful, heavy-duty, well-built tractor.
Basically, they weren't ready to release the 7520 like you said. That was getting ready to go into production, or the 7020. So they bought this out for competition purposes. But it's an animal. For what it is, 1969, it was what you wanted.
Yeah.
It's all iron. There's no plastic on this thing.
And in the article I read, while John Deere was having trouble building their own that wasn't successful, and Wagner got going on this, that was the same time that Big Bud and somebody else.
So after John Deere basically put Wagner for four-wheel drive tractors out of business, made the deal with them, Willie Hensler and Bud Nelson came up with the idea for the Big Bud, for something a farmer can work on and a serviceable thing. So that's where the Big Bud was born, is after the Wagner.
Now, in my homework I'd done, they were durable. They were mostly component tractors with truck transmissions.
There you go.
Truck engines. Axles come from where? Industrial, maybe logging equipment.
Yeah, and a lot of the Big Bud stuff was mining equipment.
Okay.
Yep.
But I guess where I was going to first though was, at the time they were good, but they were expensive.
Oh yeah.
Like I believe it said they were in the ballpark of $45,000.
Yeah.
Where the John Deeres were trying to hit this $20,000 market.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting because it was a pile of money in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that made the Wagoners really stand out was the way they oscillated back here.
Yeah. Yep.
The way the tractor would
Is
twist.
this one?
Yes. The way
15 degrees each way was, or 15 or 30, I don't know.
The way they would walk through terrain.
Oh, it has to be 15 degrees.
You know, it wasn't one wheel trying to come off the ground. It worked.
Yep. But you were talk of the town. You had one of these, I imagine,
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yep.
Not just because it says John Deere on it, but because down deep it is a Wagner.
Yep. Bare necessities.
Pretty simple.
Built big and heavy.
Hey Pete, what's up? No, we're rained out. Yeah. This is the 1968 Wagner WA-14. This is Dad's original tractor. Sold it to a guy, kept track of it, decided to buy it back. Motor was shot in it. Dad rebuilt it this winter. And there it sits. She's got her work clothes on, still working today.
Now see it.
This is the John Deere's brother, for lack of better terms you could say. But anyway, this is what the Wagner looked like before John Deere had bought the rights to it and painted it green. Here it is.
The square sheet metal just gives it a whole different look.
Different look, different hood,
Is
yeah.
the wheelbase, and is it basically the same tractor?
Frame, cab, everything. I do know the earlier 14s had a solid mount cab to the frame. Yada, 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 rough ride. So they gave some of these rubber mounts and,
This has got an extra hydraulic outlet.
yeah, aftermarket. But that's the story. This is one of them.
Be here?
How did it come to be? I think Dad and Grandpa Charlie bought it out of an auction in Turner. And this was Dad's original tractor.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
And what about the other Wagner? Where does it fall?
That's 17. I bought that from a guy north of Havre. No, west and a little bit south of Havre.
Do you have another one?
Yeah, I have a 17 too, or Dad and I have a 17. Yeah, it looks just like this.
Okay.
It's no different. So,
Does it sound the same?
sounds the same, looks the same, acts the same, everything's the same.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Well, it is what it is. There's the wedding surprise, Jim.
This. You can see the mountains pretty good tonight. About as clear as I've seen them since we've been here, actually. Look at there. We got Carol on a bike. Good for Grammy. Sun finally came out late today. Clouds seem to be moving on. Give us one more day of some sunshine and we'll be back in the field. Jim and I really hope that you enjoyed today's daily update. If you did, why don't you give it a thumbs up for us? We'd like to know that. And be sure to hit the subscription button and the bell notifications so that you know when the next video is up and ready to watch. Thank you, and we're so glad you're along with us for the journey.